All right, guys, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. It is Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. Before we begin, make sure to click bottom right-hand corner of your screen, little white logo. You click on that, turn notifications, subscribe to our channel, like our videos, comment your questions. Really do appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for joining. I really don't know how many videos we've done for the Morning Note, but I must say I do enjoy doing it. I know we have a lot of people that really kind of set their clocks 9 a.m. Hey, they want to know what's going on in the market. It's a quick 15 minutes out of your day just to kind of go over the things that are going to come together. Even on bullish days, even on bearish days, I really do appreciate you joining me just to kind of go over the headlines and answer your questions. It's really, really fun, and I do enjoy it. All right, Dow futures up 209 points. NASDAQ is up 0.42%. S&P up 0.61%. Russell 2000 up 0.72% at 2196. Crude futures kind of falling back a little bit here, but still up 1.25%, 71.37 a barrel. Gold futures 1774 an ounce, down 0.24%. Silver is green, up 0.75% at 2278. Euro dollar 117.29, up 3 pips, not much there. Dollar yen bouncing up 36 pips, 109.59. My forex people. Ethereum bouncing. Kind of testing that 3,000 level again, up 0.65% on the future side. 42,000 on Bitcoin, up 0.14%. Kind of the same thing with crypto as always. You really don't trade it, you just own it. That's what I'm holding for. And again, my price target for Bitcoin is still 100,000 by the end of Q4. Let's see if we get there. If we get there, that'd be great because I'd be selling and I'd be happy with that. I still buy some every week. Nothing crazy, but that's the deal. Dollar yen, US dollar, the Dixie, 93.24, up slightly, and the 10-year yield's at 1.326. The VIX is down 7.27% at 22.58. Remember that 20 level is very, very key. Okay, let's take a look at E-mini futures and some of the headlines that came overnight. I was watching this kind of late last night to see how futures were going. We did clear the 50-day moving average, so that's a really good sign. 50-day moving average on the hourly, of course. Just want to make sure my mic is on. Hey, thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it. So that's where we are. A couple levels to look for. Again, we do have the FOMC today. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the decision, the rate decision. Again, very slim chance. I'm talking about less than 1% chance we'll get a rate hike. I highly doubt that. But again, tapering. That'll be spoken about maybe, more than likely, at 2:30 p.m. with Jerome Powell, who's still the Fed chair. Keep in mind that he's still up for re-election in a sense, or reappointment. So again, let's see what he says. Let's see if he's still auditioning for his job. But that's where we're at currently. A couple levels to look for. Again, we're still in that downward trend on the hourly on the E-mini futures. Of course, we hit that bottom short term at 42.93, 4,300. We're above the 50-day moving average. That's really good to see. But again, we had this yesterday, a nice little pop and then a little bit of a fade. But again, starting to see higher lows the last 2 days, yesterday, higher highs. So again, we'll see if we could continue that downward here channel. More than likely, looks like 43.80s. We'll probably hang out at the bottom of this range. If we can get above 43.97 to 4,400, I would consider that a win for the bulls, of course. I think a lot of people are really pricing in some negativity from the FOMC, but reading some articles on Bloomberg and CNBC yesterday, it looks like the Fed more than likely will just talk about tapering, but not actually do it until around November, December. That's the survey among economists. Again, economists are just as good as weathermen, partly cloudy with some showers or some example. So that's where we are. So again, let's take a look at 43.80. That'd be the first level. If that happens, again, with a kind of a dovish Fed, then we can possibly get to 4,400. Would I trade anything ahead of time? If you're looking to look for that bounce, let's see if we get a continuation at the open. If that's the case, then I would probably take a look at possibly doing a little scalping before 2 o'clock and 2:30. Again, that will be the volatility there. Or you can always wait for the dust to settle right around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and see where we are then. I'm more likely looking to be more prudent toward the latter than anything else, just with the simple fact that we saw this kind of push yesterday, yesterday morning, and then we just had a straight down shot throughout the session. So again, it's nice pop in futures. Again, the reason that we had the pop in futures was really the Evergrande news. I'll go ahead and read you the news. China Evergrande main unit I'm going to ruin that name. Real estate group will make coupon payment for onshore bond due September 23rd. So again, that's where the headline came in. So again, this Evergrande thing could be a little blown out of proportion. Keep in mind, Citibank, and Citigroup, JPM, Bank of America, they don't have any kind of direct exposure to Evergrande. Does it? I think the worst case scenario is contagion, where it may spill over internationally. Keep in mind that we do have some investments in overseas in China, meaning the United States, but not to the point where like a Lehman Brothers would affect us that much. So again, it's nice for headlines. I believe that Monday was just an excuse to take some profits in a seasonally weak month of September. That makes sense. So again, it could be a buying opportunity, but again, it's not enough of a dip yet. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to buy the dip, but we need to make sure we get something decent. Just to buy really doesn't make sense unless you're buying every week or every month, dollar cost averaging. And if you're an index fund investor, you don't give a damn because you're just hanging out and enjoying. You're basically investing on easy mode, right on the rip. You're just letting it ride. But good news on the Evergrande front. Evergrande foreign bondholders are likely to be stiffed, that meaning they're not going to get paid. That was a headline from Reuters yesterday. But so far, it looks like, in my opinion, I do believe that Evergrande will more likely get bailed out, where the bondholders domestically in China will get some money. The foreign ones may not. It could be one of those things that, hey, well, that's your fault that you'd invested in us, but we don't care about foreign investors. We only care about domestic ones and the Chinese. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense. If this Evergrande thing does not work out and it blows up, there's no bailout or anything like that, then a lot of people, a lot of investors overseas in the America or Europe, they may not want to look at China as a place to maybe put capital in, just for the simple fact that they're not very supportive of their markets. It's an example. But then I started reading a little more this morning about on Bloomberg that Saba, Redwood are among the credit funds. These are credit hedge funds. They're actually buying Evergrande bonds in the cheap. So again, Evergrande bond prices are down. Their yields are up. Their credit default swaps, where I think that's more of the insurance. Think of the Big Short. Again, they get paid out when the bonds fail. Those CDSs are kind of being restricted now in China. So again, we're starting to see a little bit more of a hope mentality in terms of Evergrande bonds. Again, you're starting to see some dip buyers on credit hedge funds that are buying these funds. So I would assume that these hedge funds kind of know what they're doing, and they probably know something that we don't. So I guess more than likely Evergrande will be bailed out. And also Monday, we also had the talk of the debt ceiling limit on Congress that's not going to be raised. We had this back, I believe, in 2014 or 2014 or 2011, if memory serves me right, where we didn't raise the debt limit, and America's credit rating was actually bumped down to AA instead of AAA, which is actually ridiculous because we pay the bonds based on the money we print anyways. So it's our denominated bonds. It's not like we're paying in euros, we're paying in dollars. So again, that was Standard & Poor's deal. Since then, I mean, those bond prices have actually effectively doubled in value. So, I mean, the people who bought bonds during that downgrade actually got paid out very well, as you can see with yields coming down to 1.32% at where we are now. Keep in mind, bond rates and bond prices move inversely. Higher the rate, lower the price of the bonds. Lower the rate, lower the yield, higher price in bonds. Always think of it that way. Fixed income is a very, very intricate market. I don't trade fixed income. I do own some bonds, just corporate bonds and ETFs for my dividend portfolio. But this is the reason why I don't have a Bloomberg terminal, is that I don't trade fixed income. Fixed income is a whole different ballgame. It's a lot bigger than the stock market, obviously. But again, the bond markets do reverberate into the stock market as well. And the one thing I did see is that the spread between high yield bonds, junk bonds, and corporate grade or investment grade corporate bonds, higher end Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, think of those. They're the only ones with AAA rated, meaning the highest. Their spreads between the yields are not that bad. They're actually not that wide. So again, credit is the lifeblood of an economy, not really the stock market. So again, as long as liquidity is out there, as long as companies can borrow, meaning using the capital markets and bond markets, the market is going to be fine for the long term, well, at least till now anyways. It's only when we have recessions usually happen when we don't have access to capital, when no one can borrow money for payroll or expansion or what have you. When that happens, that's when you start getting a real recession because, again, guys, credit is the lifeblood of the economy, and that's just a fact. And if you want to be a little more crude about it, debt is the lifeblood of our economy and the global economy. Everyone owes money somewhere. That's just the name of the game. All right, let's go and take a look at some pre-market movers, and then we can go ahead and answer some questions. Let's see it here. Lucid Group, we did do that yesterday for our unusual options activity. Got as high as 67% yesterday. I believe we had the 28 calls. We caught that very nicely done. Need at least a win, a base hit to kind of get that juice going. And it's been a very tough 2.5 weeks. But you know what? I'm starting to see that we're turning the corner. I think Monday was probably the lowest we've gotten. Doesn't mean we won't go lower today or anything like that. But I think 4,300 seems to be that support that we're going to hold. Again, I think the Evergrande thing is going to kind of level off. I'm more likely he's going to get a bailout. We're going to get this debt ceiling either extended or something like that. Just political theater for the most part, regardless of whose party is which. It's just the reality of things. But that's just where we are. So I think we kind of bottomed out here slightly. Let me go ahead and take a look at the daily on E-mini futures, the S&P, to let you guys know. And it seems that 100-day moving average on the daily seems about right. So today, obviously, after FOMC, if we get a little more of a pullback, let's just say the FOMC is a little more hawkish, meaning they actually talk a little more about tapering, meaning pulling back on buying, or talk about rate increases, and we retest that 43.26 level, 4,300. I think that's a good buy level. I think 4,300 seems to be just about right. 4,300 to 43.26 is probably your buy level here, that 50-day moving average that has not been tested since last October. Again, I think here's where you want to start nibbling here and there in some names that you like. Again, a Microsoft, a United Health, a Procter & Gamble if you wanted. Again, if you wanted more consumer staples, a Walmart, an Nvidia if you love them. Google, again, I want a little more a pullback on Google. Facebook is great as well. Amazon if you like. Again, I don't want to just put it all tech, but again, there's a lot of great companies out there with great cash flow, great bond, great yields on dividends. They're returning capital to shareholders. Again, that have the cash to weather any kind of storm, whether it's a pullback, whether it's a tightening of credit, whether it's a taper or whatever. Again, like a Microsoft could weather the storm. Johnson & Johnson could weather the storm. Again, a Procter & Gamble could. Kimberly-Clark could. United Health could. So again, a lot of great companies. Again, if you're looking for more of a speculation, again, probably the worst we've gotten to on Alibaba. You can see we're basically almost at the yearly lows. We bring up the daily. We're right at that near support of 146.88. Again, I'm a BABA shareholder. I've been buying on dips. It's been keep dipping. But again, I think that we're starting to hit a capitulation level on China, where anything China is almost like toxic and people don't want to touch it. Another one that I've been watching, more than likely I'm taking a look at Wynn. I think Wynn, again, even if they took out Macau, I think Wynn is still a great company. It's actually my favorite hotel in Vegas. I always say invest in companies that you do business with. Wynn would be one of them for me. So again, around 70, I think I would definitely pull a trigger on some Wynn shares. And I do like the company. So around 70, 61 seems about right. If that does break down, again, it's only $8 away. So again, what, another 10, 12% drop? Totally possible on Wynn. But again, let's see what we get. Again, you may want to do some dip buying around on E-mini futures, if I can bring that up again, around 4,300 to around 4,320 or less than that. That seems about right. Where was I in terms of pre-market movers? And then I'll answer some questions. Apple's green, 0.5%. Microsoft is green. Walt Disney's bouncing back a little bit after the CEO's talk about Disney Plus kind of pulling back in revenue slightly. Again, it dropped really, really quickly. Caterpillar is up. JP Morgan's bouncing back. Chevron with energy is green. This is on the Dow. On the S&P, Gilead is up. Ford is up. What else is here? FedEx is down after their earnings, 6%. I think FedEx is a good company. If you want to go ahead and take a look at a possible dip buy there. I like UPS a little more personally. I don't own any logistics other than in the S&P fund, which will probably have some. But if you're looking for a FedEx here, I would say 235, 237 isn't bad. That's actually not bad on the daily, excuse me. Adobe is an amazing company. I own that in my ETF. I think here around that 50-day moving average isn't that a bad idea. I don't own the stock outright. I do own it in my ETF of SPY-G. Adobe is an amazing company, one of the cloud kings I've been talking about now for about 5 years. And again, I love it if it hit 420 or 527. Is that likely to happen? Probably not. But again, Adobe, a great company to own as well. Even though their earnings reaction was down, they did have a good report. So a lot of stuff going over. So let's answer some questions. Good morning. Dipbot 88, very nice. Good morning. Eric's asking about PayPal. Let's go ahead and expand the chart and we'll take a look at it. Looking at PayPal here. Again, I still want to break up 276.67 to buy some calls. Again, trying to be a little more conservative. 273 isn't bad, that 50-day moving average either. But again, 276.67 would put us over the 100-day moving average on the daily. I think that's the level you're looking for. They will try to keep it localized or sweat it out with the market taking their time too. That's so true. That makes a lot of sense. But again, China is not the world. Again, the United States is still the best game in town in terms of investing. But China is the biggest part of the emerging markets, if you want to call it that. And there's a lot of investors there. But the idea that Evergrande has some kind of reach or exposure to the U.S., it just isn't true. So the Lehman Brothers Evergrande comparison just doesn't hold weight. Thoughts on Upstart? Upstart has been on fire. I was looking at calls yesterday, but for the most part, they're very, very expensive. Again, that's just me being conservative. What can I do? That's just how I am, especially when it's been tough. You don't want to add more chips to the table when it's been a little bit of a rough patch. You want to wait it out and then see for better opportunities. But Upstart is looking solid. If it does break 330, 330 calls had a lot of volume. It just was very pricey. So, obviously hindsight is always 2020. Would have been nice to buy them calls anyways. But again, it is looking solid. I heard China was planning to split Evergrande into 3 entities. Yeah, there's nothing different than what we did in 2008 in terms of the banks. I remember at Citibank when I was working there, they separated Citibank, the core holdings, to the other one, which is the other holdings, what they call it City Holdings, which was all the toxic debt, which was the MBS or the toxic holdings, real estate and what have you. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that as well. What they do is just spin off all the junk that they have that's over levered, and then they keep the core holdings, cash equivalents or better investments, for example. Good morning, Carlos. Thank you for doing as always. Thoughts for Lucid. Carmen's asking about it. LCID. Again, we played it yesterday. Again, if it breaks 28, then we could possibly take a look at the 30s. I'd probably look for next week, if anything. But it's absolutely been on fire. We caught it yesterday. So let's see what the volume brings. Good morning, Carlos. Do you think financials are going to start showing some love? I do. I really do, because now JP Morgan is breaking above the 50. Again, it's been a tough one. Again, there's a gap to fill right around 57 and 25 cents. So let's see if we can continue above 155. If that does happen, maybe 156s are not a bad idea for next week. Again, JPM does not have the exposure to Evergrande. Okay, so that's a big thing. I think they had to make sure to announce that. Bank of America doesn't either. It's Citi. We have rates coming up a little bit. We have the Fed coming at 2:30, meaning the press conference. So let's kind of pump the brakes on anything we do ahead of time. The Fed is very, very volatile, so we don't know what's going to happen. Let's just see what happens and go from there. So I expect them to be just the same song, same dance, meaning that no rate hikes, talk of tapering, more than likely November, December. And that's the end of the movie. That's what's going to happen, more than likely. Good morning, Carlos. Is it a good time to buy NEO? We talked about that. NEO, in terms of the Chinese companies being to the point of it just beaten down. I have a level of $30. If that does break, I am buying more. I own some. Again, I'm the type where I like really deep discounts. I really want something, a nice, juicy discount. A bulk of my stock buys, guys, was last year during COVID. And, for example, Disney. I'm up 55% on Disney because I bought it at 111 during COVID, or during the throes of COVID, April, March. Again, I'm not against dip buying, but a 2% drop, a 3% drop is not enough. Would a 3% drop get you out of the house to go shopping? Probably not. Most like everybody, we want to go shopping on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, 40% off, 30% off. Do we get that in the stock market? Not exactly, I wish, but it kind of equate, a 10% correction from highs or a possible 20% correction from highs or bear market on a stock to start taking a look, like a win, for example. Again, riskier, we know. BABA, look how much it dropped from the highs. Look at NIO, but again, I want 30. That's just me. If you wanted to buy here on NEO, that's not a bad idea. Again, always manage your risk. NEO, to me, is not my core holding. It's more of my speculation holding. I love EV, And again, I want to have some China exposure. I only have 2 companies that do that. So again, that's a very small slice of my portfolio. So again, you're not going all in China either. But again, 30 is my level. Path. Let's take a look at Path. UiPath, I don't know much about in terms of the stock in general, but you could see it's down. So again, I'm just going to chart it. If you're looking for calls or puts here, this is going to be a tough one. A break of 51, possibly you're looking at some puts, but again, looking at the daily, it looks pretty bad. So I mean, where's the floor? That's really the question. And I mean, you could possibly do puts if you own stock in it to kind of hedge yourself, but until then, I have to see the volume on it. Hello, good morning. Thought QS and the daily weekly looking good. Yeah, one of our members on our chat was talking about it. I have 2467 for a break to the upside on QS. That's the daily break to the upside. But the hourly is absolutely amazing. Looks great here. So again, 2467, we kind of broke that this overnight. Let's see if we break it again. If it does, you could see on the daily how much it broke above 2467. If that happens, then we can start taking a look at the 26 calls. Let's see if we can get a little more time, maybe buy a couple of months, if anything. But again, Palantir had a great setup, and I had to close it yesterday because it just wasn't moving. And it's a damn shame because we had a double top, triple top break. And any other time, technical analysis usually works on this. We would have got 30 if it wasn't for Monday's fall. The fact that we have an expiry this week, we just had to get rid of it. And it's very unfortunate. I'm kind of pissed about that, but that's just the name of the game. And then Tuesday yesterday was pure consolidation. You see the Dow, the Nasdaq's up 2.28%, and Palantir is up 20 cents. That's just what it is. And I own the stock, and I love the company. Let's see here. What's one stock that has dipped the most 2 weeks that you see making a comeback? Let's take a look at it. The stock that has dipped the last 2 weeks, I know for a fact will make a comeback is Apple. That I know it will. I have a break of 144.75. Apple is too good, too resilient to be held down. 144.75 for a break. I would target the 146s. So again, we're right now right at the 100-day moving average on the hourly. But again, I think Apple has been beaten down from the highs. I guess beaten down. It's down to what, $14 from the 157.26 all-time highs. I still think it bounces back, and I think it breaks all-time highs by the end of the year easily. 165, 170 price target by December 31st is my Apple call. Granted, it's my largest holding. What is a good price to buy Citi? Let's see. Good price to buy Citi. Well, let's take a look on the daily. I have a level of 61.85. If 61.85 does break, I think 65 isn't a bad idea. I own JPM and I own Goldman Sachs. So again, I have a little bit of exposure in terms of banks. I'd rather own a BlackRock than a Citi. I think BlackRock is a better bet. That's BLK. Again, we already know how much real estate they're buying, commercial and residential. So again, BlackRock has been on fire, and you could tell from 531 to around 959 at the highs, almost a doubling up. So again, I'd rather have a BlackRock than a Citi. Obviously, the price tag is a little higher, but again, maybe we can get to BlackRock around 810. 810 wouldn't be bad. If that happens, I'd definitely be a buyer. I've been wanting to buy them and Google in terms of the high ticket stock names. But an 810 level, which would be the 200-day moving average, BlackRock would be nice. I'd rather have that. That's it. Time to trades. No more to work on. I'm in December Palantir cards. There you go. Let's see. Good morning, boss. PayPal calls. PayPal needs a little more. PayPal, again, for calls, we're going to take a look at the hourly. Again, 272.91, so 273 would be nice. My level would be 276.67. I'd rather be a little more prudent to get back to the previous support level and then possibly take a look at 282s, 285s. And trying to get some Palantir cards for the cheap when it hits $25. Do you see it going lower than that level? Palantir right now is just pretty much consolidating. Really the support, I would say here, the first level of support is 26. After that is 25. Does that really tell us much about the stock? Not really. In order to kind of break out of this level, you need to retest that triple top of 27.45. And if it does break, I'm going to go for it again, and I'm going to go for those 29s or 28s. But again, 27.45 is the level we need for up breakout. Excuse me. FB dropping like crazy right now. Let's take a look at Facebook. Any news? Whoa. So I'm on the phone with you. I'm on the thing with you guys. Let's see on Twitter what's going on. So again, I do like Facebook, but let's see if Facebook has any. Here we go. Facebook aggregate underreporting. Here we go. Just got that. So Facebook is falling pre-market. I just got a headline here. Facebook estimates in aggregate it's underreporting iOS web conversions by 15%, believes real-world conversions like sales and app installs are higher than what is being reported for many advertisers. Justin, Facebook says Apple's new privacy updates are hurting its ad business, causing headwinds to the third quarter. There you go. There's your answer. I think Facebook is still a great company to own. Let's take a look at possible dip buying opportunity. Excuse me. I do own shares. 334.79. Excuse me, is my level to buy. Again, Facebook is grossly profitable. They make so much money, it's insane, and they have zero debt. This is a company you want to own. If you just took the name Facebook and named it something else, this would be a lot higher. But again, the business that they're in, social media, a lot of controversy, censorship, political stuff, privacy, tracking. Is it fun? No, it's a wild ride. But again, they're grossly profitable. My God, it's undervalued in my opinion. Keep an eye on Hood on the daily. Please tell ETH to go to 10K already. Thanks. By the end of the year, I expect that to happen. And thoughts on crypto Solana, I believe. I can't look it up here. So, I mean, Solana, I heard it's the ETH alternative. I prefer ETH. If you want to own Solana, put it a little slice in your portfolio. Totally cool. But other than that, last question is on Hood. Let's take a look at it on the daily. Yeah, it's starting to move. A break of 45 would be nice. But again, until then, we got to see what we get. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. I know we went a little longer than expected. All good. Have a great rest of your day. GARCapitalFX.com is the website. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Cheers.